Hello and welcome to The Big Fight. What is the future of left and left-wing politics in India? Now, a year ago, it seemed as if the right was on the rise and almost decisively so. The victory of the Modi government, a lot of the other things that have been going around. But now there are some questions as to whether the left is going to return and in what form. And by left, I don't just mean the CPM or the communist parties, although the CPM now has a new general secretary, and we'll have to see what impact he can do. But also the return of Rahul, suddenly seeing him in a left-wing avatar saying the government's taking away land and giving it to the corporates, taking away the internet and giving it to the corporates. And in view of everything else that's happening, including farmers and agrarian distress, is there some sort of a future for left-wing politics, and is that going to be the divide in this country, left-wing and right-wing? But that's the subject of The Big Fight, and we've got a great panel to take us through all aspects of it. We are being joined by the new General Secretary of the CPIM, Sitaram Yechury, who's going to be with us just briefly, but great to have you with us. Shekhar Gupta is with us as well. Tom Badukan is joining us from the Congress Party. We have Dr. Anirban Ganguly, Director of the Dr. Shama Prasad Mukherjee Research Foundation. You certainly think the left doesn't have a future? Okay. Mohammed Salim will be taking over from the CPIM once Mr. Yechury is not there. Sunil Alag, who's a business consultant and a great admirer of Narendra Modi and everything that he's done so. Yeah. Thanks for joining us. And Ishan Anand, Secretary of the Democratic Students Federation, the DSF at JNU. A lot of young people have been moving away from the left in recent times, so we'll be getting your take on why you think things are going to be different. Prasenjit Bose is joining us from Kolkata. Was CPM, now has also strong views on what he thinks the future of the left should be. So Prasenjit, thanks a lot for joining us as well. Right, Sitaram Yechury, the left when it comes to the communist parties have been more or less written off by a lot of political pundits. There's been a very sharp slide, a slide that I can actually show you in statistics right now, which you know as well, in vote share, in number of seats, in the sort of interest that the left is getting. The left when it comes to the communist movement has been virtually written off by political pundits. Is it premature, do you think, to write the obituary? And is there a way of reviving it? And if so, how do you think it can be revived?
You see, it is premature. I mean, it's premature precisely because the impact of the policies pursued by this Modi government, both economic and social, are creating a tremendous degree of discontent amongst the people, are imposing burdens on their livelihood. So the anger against this will erupt and should erupt, and we will make them grow in terms of popular struggles. And that is the way in which you will see not only the revival of the left parties electorally, as you which is the basic indicator you are going by, but also the left agenda in the country's development.
Dr. Ganguly?
Definitely, they have been losing space rapidly, and they have not been able to recover. Change at the top will not affect their ability to recover that space as yet.
Okay. Shekhar? So there are two ways of looking at left-wing. One is socialist, one is looking at it from the point of view of communist or Naxalite. When it comes to communist or Naxalite politics, is that something which you think is going to continue to have a strong future?
You have to acknowledge that the left has a very strong past in India. And that past that left had cuts across party lines. It wasn't just the left parties. In fact, left parties are quite marginal to left thinking in India. The left thinking in India came from the Congress. It came from Lohiites, many of whom now rule the Hindi heartland. And even the BJP, until a few years back, sounded more and more like sort of a little bit pink, maybe lighter pink than the Congress party. So the big shift in India with the rise of Modi is that for the first time, you have a government which is not apologetic about being a government of the right. Our great political uncle, Sitaram Yechury, once told me after coming back from China, where he led a parliamentary delegation, he said, "ये चीन के कम्युनिस्ट पार्टी जो है, इसके नेता DTC के bus driver की तरह हैं, like DTC bus drivers in Delhi." So we said, "Chacha, why?" Because we used to call him Chacha. He said, "वो signal left करते हैं, turn right करते हैं." So that is the way Indian politics was. Everybody talked left. Within that, they did stuff on the right.
But are we seeing a turning point now, Shekhar, is the question I'm asking?
Look, you cannot write off the left. And as you know, I'm no enthusiast of the left. Maybe because I did not go to the finest schools and colleges like many of you. I have no love lost for the left, in fact, left politics or left economics. But the fact is that left ideology is also written in the DNA of Indian politics. Okay. So anything that has a past like that cannot just disappear like that. It can come back.
Before we come back to the Communist Party itself, what about the Congress? Now, when you see, so Rahul Gandhi goes away for 56 days, does prolonged introspection, and then comes back and almost immediately makes two major policy interventions in Parliament. One saying, you're taking away land and you're giving it to corporates and aap suited booted logon ki sarkar hai. And the second now then comes in and says that you're taking away the internet and you're giving it to corporates. The common theme seems to be, you're a government of the corporates. So is Rahul Gandhi's 56 days of introspection going to lead to the Congress saying we are a left-wing party and that's the way we want to define ourselves?
Before he went for this vacation, it was abundantly clear that on this land acquisition bill, opposition was very clear. He was proactive. It's only on the internet issue that this has developed recently. Now, these are issues nothing to do with the left. There is a connectivity with the common people. This has nothing to do with left or right. If the right feels that, and watch you my words, when you said that corporates, he said select. Crony capitalism is what he mentioned. He didn't say that he was against corporates. Let me put this in record, Vikram.
Did not have a great record when it comes to crony capitalism.
No, let me put this in record. He did not name anybody.
Governments change, cronies don't change.
Yeah, actually that's how it's you should have
cronyism is entirely fungible with political ideology.
Okay, can I come to you now? There are two aspects to left and right. One is economics and how you view economics, and the second is on other things like conservatism, family values, religious affiliations. If India is moving to the right, is it happening? If India did move to the right last year, was it on all of these grounds, only on economics?
I'll just say one thing. You can never argue against a line which says, what about the poor? Because then all discussions stop. So the communists have been saying...
Or the question which has been said this week, what about you doing about the farmers?
Only one group of people that can give jobs in India. It is not the farmer. It is industry, whether you like it or not. And what is happening to industry is we are going and setting up factories in Malaysia and Indonesia, everywhere, all India. Forget about anyone coming in. We are moving out. So if you think we are the bad guys and you try and generalize, and this select line has just come up now. So if we are the bad guys, we'll move out. Who will give the jobs? Who will they join? Are they going to go and till the land? So industry has to be brought into and coexist with agriculture. But what is being presented is here the bad guys, throw them out.
Ishan?
Which is what is wrong.
If industry doesn't exist, where will the youth get their jobs from?
No, but not at the cost of the lives of the farmers.
No, but that's where I'll argue with you. There is...
No, sir, in the past 2.5 decades, more than 3 lakh farmers have committed suicide. And I agree.
See, let's not confuse two things. Bad rains is bad luck for Mr. Modi. Now people are not getting because of one second. Is it because of land acquisition that they are committing suicide, or is it because of famine, because the floods have come, or because rain has come?
The real leftward shift that Rahul has shown, it is in saying that American presidents praised Gorbachev because he broke up Soviet Union. American presidents praised Yeltsin because he privatized his industry.
So India is now a American satellite in some sense.
Pro-American capitalist satellite. So that is what shows, I mean you can agree or disagree with it, was the breakup of the Soviet Union and the end of the Cold War and breakup of the Eastern Bloc and rise of many independent nations.
Yes.
What is the Congress party's view on it?
The world construct, as it stands then and as it stands now, India did play a role, a peaceful role, but we cannot control everything. There is evolution in the process.
Mr. Yechury, let me ask you one question. When you're looking at the left movement, and specifically when you're looking at the Communist Party, there is an association in India that, the Communist Party, Lenin, Stalin, it's a party of not just the last century, but maybe like the century before that. And the Communist Party hasn't really moved away from that dogma. So now that you've taken over, what is it that you can say and do to convince the people of today that they have a future somewhere in communism?
Marxism means the concrete analysis of concrete conditions. As conditions change, if your analysis does not change, then you're not a Marxist. So all the things that you've been talking of, Lenin, etc., the Soviet experience, these are all now very important things of the past that shaped the evolution of human civilization. But we are talking of the present. What is the present situation of the people? What are the issues on which we require to mobilize the people in terms of redressing their hardships and grievances at the moment, and on that basis to advance? And that is precisely what we are doing.
But Mr. Yechury, the Communist Party by now, has it become too small to be capable of revival? Even in India and across the world now, where are there really strong communist countries left? So that's why when you're saying that the future is in communism, then you have an issue there.
I'll tell you how it will happen, because you see, I mean, apart from China, Vietnam and Cuba, which are the traditional communist parties, which are continue to be the ruling parties, you look at Latin America, 11 out of 14 countries there you have left presidents elected in through democratic elections. So the left today is not only the communist parties, but is also all the left forces who are organized within the communist parties, within the left parties, and also a large section that is outside. They will have to be united together on a platform, and that is what we are aiming to do. And I think there is a very, very wide section of our people who value the left point of view only because it can build a better India. And that is what will be our approach.
Let's look at it. India is a young country. It's a country for the youth. The youth is largely aspirational. So if you are to take a look at how the youth is going to view the CPM and the communist parties, now here, Mr. Yechury, this is your draft political resolution of the 21st Congress of the CPM, 19th to the 21st of January. And, you know, I have some statistics out here that might actually, you know, interest you. And you just bear with me for a couple of minutes on this. That draft political resolution mentions neoliberal 35 times, mentions corruption, mentions all of those. The word opportunity is not mentioned once. The word modern is not mentioned. Oh, opportunity mentioned once, sorry. Modern, 0. Technology, once. Promise, 0. Jobs, 2. I'll give you another statistic. In this entire document, and we were sitting and reading this and trying to do some analysis on it. In this entire document, Mr. Yechury, guess how many words were dedicated to the youth and to students, which is, you know, all of these people, they are your voters. 177 words in the whole document for the youth and for students. And you know how many words were used to describe the left advance in Latin America, specifically Bolivia and Uruguay? Double that, 313 words. Left advance in Latin America, Bolivia and Uruguay, double the number of words and were used to talk about the youth and students. Now, if that is going to be the way the left is going to position itself, how do you expect the youth to ever have any resonance with the Communist Party?
Look at Latin America, it is the youth that are bringing about this change, you know. It's the Latin American youth. In fact, a very popular student leader in Chile, I mean, I'm sure you must have shown her on the television. I mean, but they are the ones who are mobilizing the people today. It's the youth that is involved in all these changes. No, youth is the bedrock. Our USP to the youth is, yes, your aspirations, I mean, all that are absolutely correct, but who will create the conditions in which your aspirations can be properly utilized so that we can rise to our potential. India has the potential today to become the leader of the world's knowledge society. Only if you give our youth proper health, proper education, and give them job opportunities. Which are the set of policies that will do it? The policies being followed by the earlier Congress government or today's Modi government are in fact restricting the operations where the youth can realize their aspirations. And that is where the CPIM's USP comes into play, that we are the ones who are talking of policies to create conditions so that our youth can flourish. And that is our alternative. We say India has enough resources, India has enough talent, but the point is to utilize that. That cannot happen with these policies. That is the change that we are seeking.
Okay, let me get you in as well.
You should know the structure of the Communist Party first before posing this question. That's a document which analyzes the international and national situation, political developments. And we have host of resolution. One is on agriculture, one is on youth, one is on job.
This is a draft political
yes,
resolution.
I'm saying it's a combination.
It's not only on the international and national factors.
The question is the international, national, political and economic developments. And when you talk about employment, it's a different, separate resolution. Farmers.
Mr. Salim.
So take it together.
Okay, let me just put it to you.
Take it together.
Here are a bunch of young people, right?
Yes.
When I was a young person, and as a lot of young people were in my generations, we all were almost naturally communist. When we were in school and we were in college, we all used to be communists. We all used to be saying, well, let's wave a red flag.
Romantic communists or communists?
Yes, all of us were.
Some of us who went to the
but all young people at a certain stage, till in 30 years, 20 years ago, they all used to be communists. How many of you are communists? Okay, there are some. Wow. Now, convince him, convince her. Right? You convince her to vote for the Communist Party.
Another put question?
No, convince her. It's a political speech.
Any question on this?
Tell her why she should vote for the Communist Party in 4 lines.
We are talking about one. Why we were left in 30 years before? Because we believed in future. One. To become left, forget about communism even. Left means you talk about future. One. Secondly, you analyze the present situation. And right is what does it mean? You go with the power, existing, status quo. Now, after the demise of Soviet Russia, the entire media world has changed its parlance. Radicalism means something, it's a fundamentalism, and revolutionary means something distorted. Allow me to complete this.
Has he convinced you to vote for the Communist Party?
Because they totally changed world altogether. But what I am talking is, one, if you believe in your future, if you believe in the future of the country,
vote for the Communist
Party. You need not be communist. You need not. Why are you putting? Leftism is something more than communism.
Mr. Salim,
left is what?
Mr. Salim,
you don't agree with the present crisis and situation, and you find out a route.
Mr. Salim, yes. Mr. Salim, yes. Okay, now can you? I'm giving you the same floor because you often convince young people to vote.
It's only about the political resolutions you place in the Congress and how many times you mentioned youth in it. I think the youth and students in the country are coming out on the streets. We have seen the 16 December anti-gang rape movements, not led by any Communist Party. We have seen movements like Hop Korov in West Bengal, not led by any Communist Party. We have seen Kiss of Love protests all across the country. So youth in the country have certain aspirations. They are coming out on the streets. However, the Communist parties, which are supposed to be the vanguard, the leadership, they are missing from all the protests, agitations.
Okay, Prasenjit, you were and you used to be seen as a very prominent youth face, somebody who could go out and connect the young people and saying, yes, you have a future in the communist movement and in the CPM and in far left politics. Perhaps you would like to take a shot at convincing the young lady here who's not looking convinced as of this moment.
Well, I have 3 things to say. First of all, I think that the left, which I will distinguish from, the politics that is being pursued by the communist parties at this point of time. The left obviously has a future because the left politics is about putting primacy to the interests of the people as opposed to putting primacy to the interests of profit. People before profit. And that politics has relevance not only in India but all across the world. That politics has relevance. You have a left and right in the politics of every country.
Okay, Prasenjit, hang on, Prasenjit, you've just said it really well. One of the reasons, Mr. Salim, you should think about getting him back. Because I think that is, in all of this session so far, that is the first time that convinced you almost. Not on TV. That convinced you almost, right? People before profits. That's what he says left should be. Now that resonates that you get that. Okay, Prasenjit.
Can I just step in on that?
How do you respond to that?
Because I'm going to respond to the younger generation because what I'm saying is, if it is people before profit, it means the state runs everything. Because you then go back into the era.
Why?
One second. Can I just finish?
If the basic principle, as Prasenjit is saying, is that this is what the left should say is, people over profits does not mean you should never have profits. It means that you should not allow profits to grow at the level that people get crushed.
No, I disagree with the word. You can say do not profit here. But if any private industry is told that you have to worry about the people only and not about... Can I just finish, Prasenjit? The youngsters can decide. I'm not here to say vote for CPM or not. But all I'm saying is... I know. All I'm saying is, look, what is the problem that Sitaram Yechury is going to face, according to me? If he doesn't win Bengal, forget it. There's only Bengal and Kerala at the moment for him to establish in the CPM party.
Don't forget Tripura.
Yeah, okay. He has to get... Tripura is fantastic, by the way. He has to win Bengal. Okay, now what has he got in the CPM? Prasenjit, 1 second. He's got the old guard and he's got the young guard. The old guard still think anything that happens, America is to be blamed. Okay, it's been going on for years. Yeah, the young guard is saying, when they started saying...
Okay.
Act minute, Dada, act minute.
Modi is the solution to all problems.
No, it's not. So therefore, if you say, for instance, when he was saying, no, I'm saying, like he was saying, 1 second, don't do it at the expense of the farmer. Nobody is saying that the two cannot mix.
Okay.
There's
So
a big
therefore-
difference between profit and profiteering. You must not allow profiteering.
So here's the thing.
Which industry will say don't make a profit? You have to go back to the state then.
Yes, Prasenjit is making a bid for the leadership of the CPM about 30 years from now or 40 years from now. And therefore, with his...
No. I am making no
50
such
years
bid.
from now.
I am only saying...
50 years from now. And he's coming up to say what he thinks the party should do. Tell us, Prasenjit, your second point.
The era in which you could just invoke the Soviet Union or China or, such kind of, outside India kind of examples and say this is the kind of society we aspire for, I think is clearly over.
Correct.
And the CPIM unfortunately still considers even the North Korean regime as a socialist regime. I think it is a complete anachronism to what socialism should be. Socialism should be a society which is free, which is in fact more free than capitalism. But I think that is where the CPIM has got caught in a time warp. It has not gone in for ideological renewal, and politically it has become therefore quite directionless. I think that is a basic problem with the CPIM. Why is it that it is not being able to play the role of the kind of opposition that people in West Bengal, for instance, would like the CPIM to play? It is caught in a stasis.
Okay.
It is not being able to really catch the pulse of the people.
Prasenjit, thanks. That's a very, very invaluable
I think Prasenjit's a very good point, has a very good point, but I have a larger point to make. What is more relevant today? Is Cuba under Fidel Castro and Cuba's past more relevant, or is Cuba's present more relevant? Why is nobody talking about what is happening in Cuba today? Cuba and America are now hugging and making up. America and Iran are hugging and making up. So that's where I said I will not let Tom Badakan come.
We'll come back. I'm more worried about 12,000 farmers committing suicide. I'm not so worried about Cuba. And here he did mention about profits. Profit is not a bad word. Profit is not a bad word. But what he said,
your leaders are saying,
your leaders saying suited, booted, logon ki sarkar. Profits are also relevant for people.